Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I'm coming in with another Altenew. Gonna kind of get caught up actually with the Paint to Flower. I believe the Rose came out in February, I want to say. So I'm just getting caught up with that. I'm going to apologize for the background noise because, of course, as soon as I start this, I'm hearing fire engines, an ambulance alarm, just everything here. I do live in a safe neighborhood, just saying, but I think this is like the third time this has happened. So, as always, I do like to do these in my colored pencils. It kind of forces me to get back to the media that I truly do love. They are my coloring medium of choice. And for this project, now you can see, I haven't figured out, you're actually going to go with me on how I'm going to lay this out, what I'm going to do. I am going to use my toned gray mixed media. If you've seen my videos before, this here is the paper of choice that I like to use for my colored pencils, or I will even use a Bristol paper, and I'll even use a watercolor. I like the tooth in the paper. Now, you can get this. I mean, this is basically 4 colored pencils. Not this one, but there's another one that's bound. It's a lot thinner. I like this one because it's thicker. It's like, you can hear that. It's like cardstock. So I don't have to take this paper and put it on a piece of cardstock just to make sure that it's strong. So I do like these. I get mine from Dick Blick, and I just get the 6 by 8 inch because then I can just cut this in half and I have 2 panels. So this one pack will give me 30 card fronts. I usually do cut my card fronts when I'm doing my colored pencil to 4 by 5 1/4. Because I do like to frame it. I do like to put a piece of colored cardstock behind it just to frame it. And that's all I like to do when I'm doing my colored pencils. Again, it's a habit. It's a creature of habit. I also like to take strips of the same paper that I'm using and do my tests. See what it's going to do, how it's going to look when it's blended. Oh my, they are still in the area. You would thought that they would have passed me by now. Maybe? It's getting louder? You're just really going to hear it. Yeah, it's going to really rip through right now. So I'll be right back. Okay, that was absolutely adorable, and I'm so glad I got to look. The Easter Bunny came to town by the fire department. I think it's awesome. Yes, I did go out. And yes, I waved to the Easter Bunny. Absolutely. Yes, I'm 51 years old and I did that. Yes, it made me smile. I think whatever we can do to smile, it's what we should do. So this is going to make me smile. So let's get started here. So the colored pencils that I'm going to use, I pulled out my LYRA Rembrant. They're called PolyColor pencils. These are like the polychromos. And the reason why I say that is they are oil-based. Now, as I always state, I state in my disclaimer for my videos, especially for my colored pencils. Here's a couple things. It's going to be long. It's going to be gabby. I will show all of this coloring. When it comes to the time of me starting to color this image, I will switch over to a voiceover and speed this up. If I don't, this video could be close to 1.5 hours to 2 hours long. Okay, so long, gabby. Understand that. When I talk about colored pencils, I talk about colored pencils for a card maker. I am not a color pencil artist. I am not a colorist with these things. What I know is the very basics. I love colored pencils. I love all colored pencils. They are my medium of choice when it comes to techniques such as this, coloring an image. So I know only the basics. I have not found a colored pencil that I have not liked to use. nor have I found a colored pencil that I've found has been difficult to use. So again, what I know about these, the LYRAs, again, they are PolyColors, which are comparable to the Polychromos by Faber-Castell. This is what they look like. All right. They have a nice width. They are not as thick as other pencils. The core is a little bit thinner, but not too much. All right. You can see the color. You always want to, I don't swatch my colored pencils. I swatch my colored pencils before I do a project. They have a great tray that you can lift up like that. So this is really nice. I really do like these handles. I think they're great, and they are secure. So these are all of your colors that you have here, and what you also get is what they refer to as a splendor. And there's 2 of them in here. They're at each end. Now, a splendor pencil is similar to, I'm trying to find it, similar to my colorless blender with my Prismacolor. This is what I use to blend my pencils together, or I use a white pencil. Now in this case, I will use a Faber-Castell Polychromo because it's close to these. So these are my 2 blending mechanisms. I will also use, and again, I have a video on this that you can look at. I will also use this if I'm using my Prismacolor because this is for wax base. I've used it for oil base. One of the colored pencil blender pens as well. I do not use Gamsol. I am now completely away from it. It just freaks me out that it's an odorless mineral spirits, so you can't keep it open because you can't smell it, but yet you got to open it, and it just freaks me out. I've got enough freaking me out right now. So we don't need to add to it. So these are my 3 items and modes of blending of choice. When I do use my colored pencils, I do like to do a no line coloring effect, and that ink that I use is by Ink 3. I will also use, depending upon the image, Simon Says Fog, or they're Barely Beige, and I will also use the Gina K Whisper to have light lines as well. Okay, but this is the one that I go to. Yes, Courtney got me hooked on that. So what's the difference with a Splendor? What a Splendor does is it also blends the colors out, but it provides a high gloss sheen to the top of the image. All right, so that's what this does. I am not saying that's a bad thing. I think it is great. I think it is really different. It's not something, though, that I look for when it comes to my colored pencils. I like it to be the matte look. You get the sheen when you go over with your white or your colorless pencil, so you don't need to worry about that. You can see the difference in size between the pencils, and you can see when I flip them that way, the difference in the size as well. These are a little bit thinner than your Polychromos. Okay, so what I want to do, so that's just my little bit of education, okay, on colored pencils, how I use them. I do use them in adult coloring books, but I do also use them for card making. So again, I just use them because I love them. They, again, medium of choice here, nothing more. Okay, so what I do know is I want to make my roses yellow. I'm not sure why, but for some reason, I just want to make a beautiful yellow rose. So I'm just going to pull out some yellows here. And again, I'm just looking at the colors. I always go on one side and just put the 3 colors together to see how they will blend, to see if they'll blend, or what I have to do to look at these colors. to get them to blend. Now this is probably going to be really bright. Well, not bright enough. I need something really light now. Really, really light. There we go. Then if I take this, just go back and forth, and then I will come in with my white, just to add that to the tip. Okay, so these are going to be my colors for the rose. Now, what I like to do is I will take each of the colors and just make a box. And yes, I do this for every project. Now, when it comes to the white pencil, I will always use either the Faber-Castell white or my Prismacolor white. I very rarely will use the white that comes in each of my sets. I know what this white and the Prismacolor white does. I know how they react. I know how they function. I don't want to use another white. But I have them as spares, if that's the case. Okay, so the next thing that I do is I will write down their name. So this one I will mark Faber-Castell. White. And then these also are named as well. They're numbered and named. Now, what I'll do is I'm just going to put the last digits because they all start out with 2000. So, the first one is number 5, lemon. The second color is number 85, and that is light ochre. And then our final color is number 83, and that is gold ochre. Okay, so that is going to be the color of our rose. All right, now the leaves. So if we look at the leaves, I want the leaves to be olivey or sagey. Does that make sense? All right, so let's let's see what these look like. Okay, so that's woodsy, and I like that. What's this one? Not so woodsy, but I'm okay with it. I need something dark. Do I want to go blue or do I want to go to a dark green? I think I do want to go to a dark green. That's not it, but I do like this one. So see how I just jumped? I do like this one, and I like this color. So that one's going to go back. Now, I'm wondering... Nope. I'm wondering if I should pull in my blue. Yeah, I think. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I always like to add some blue. And I'm going to come in with that. Over the green, it will look very different. And then if I just come up. Yeah, I'm liking those blends. And again, I can come in with the white to offset that color. Now this should be... Oh, see, that's actually night green. I don't know, though. I think think I want... Ooh. I don't know. I'm having difficulty with that color. There's too much. So if I look at this, see, I've got an olive shade. So that's what I'm kind of looking at. If I put this in there lightly, I mean, it's okay. I'm not liking that. No, for some reason that's kind of throwing me off. Now, what I will use, though, I think I will use this one. Because that actually has some of the blue in it. Yes. And then this comes in with my light. And then this comes in with the white. And then if I come down. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I like that look. So these are going to be my colors for my leaves. And again, the same thing. I'm not going to do the white again. I mean, what I usually do is just put a white mark there so that I can remind myself. And now I'm just going to put my boxes here. And then again, just come in with my marker. And obviously it died. And there we go. Sharpie pens are great. The other good thing that's great with them as well is they're waterproof. Okay, so this is actually 74. And this one is 65. I also make this too because it helps for when I create my color card for my blog, because I'll do that as well. You know, once this piece is up, I will always put my color card down into the blog so that you can actually see the colors that I'm using. Usually at the bottom of this, I will write the name of the pencils, and I'm just going to put PolyColor up here as well so that I know. I'll know this one, my white, is always the Faber-Castell. So we have a good tone when it comes to the roses and when it comes to our leaves. Now we've got these small flowers here. I really want to go into a mauve, a strong mauve, and I don't need too many colors for that. Like here's my light color, and then here would be my dark color. And then here I'm going to come in and just blend that through. And that's exactly what I'm looking for on that. So I just need these two as well. There are colors that I automatically gravitate to continuously, or shades, I should say. I try to use different colors of pencils so that I can still get those colors but maybe have a different shade. All right, so this is medium flesh, and this is wine red. All right, so now we have those. All right, so I think those are all of my colors that I need. And then if I need any other colors, I may pull in a brown, you know, a very dark brown, like dark sepia. So I may just put that there so that that would be the center, and I would fill in for those little tiny bobbles there. But once I choose my colors, everything else goes away. I stick with these colors and I work with these colors. The only thing that can change is my mode of blending and how I want to blend. But now I close up my pack of pencils, I close up the tin, I get them out of my way so that I don't drop them or push them out of my way. I make sure they're safe so that they don't fall. And this is what I stick with. All right. So that's what we're going to do. Now we're just going to play with the placement. I'm not quite sure, you know, if I'm going to have this sit like that or if I'm going to have that come across. That's exactly how I'm going to do that. Okay. So put that in there. I want to pull out my image. Okay. Yes. So this is exactly. I'm going to match that up on that line. Go. Yes. So I'm going to close it just a little bit just to tap it so that I can get that, because I really do need this to stay in its place. I'm just going to put my fingers on it. This is the first time I've used this stamp just to prime her. And I'm just going to make sure that she stays. I do like to stamp just a couple of times when I do my no line coloring. But I also need to make sure that my cardstock does not move, because I don't have it down in the corner, and that would piss. That would make me very upset. Yes, I had to cut that out. And I am going to stamp it just one more time. Okay. Now, what I'm also going to look at is my sentiment. I might as well look at that here now. So I've got thank you. I think live life in full bloom. I think that's actually going to come off to the side here. So I am not going to stamp that because I am not sure if I am going to put that directly onto my card or if I'm going to do a banner on that. So, okay, so we've got the image stamped. What I am going to do now is I'm going to switch over to a voiceover because, again, I do speed this up, but you will see all of the coloring. So I will be right back. Okay, so we are on our voiceover. So I've placed my washi tape. That just helps me to know where to keep my piece of paper that I'm coloring on so that I remember to keep it in the view of the camera. So I think this is the first time that I've used these colored pencils. Again, like I said before, they are very similar to the Polychromos by Faber-Castell. So as with what I decided with this image, I'm going in with the dark color, or medium color I should say, and just kind of mapping that out. At this time, I am not going over the lines. So one of the questions that I get is when I'm using either the Simon Says Fog, or the Simon Says Barely Beige, or even the Ink on 3 Fade Out. You know, a lot of people say, do you cover up the line? Do you not cover up the line? When I'm coloring at first, and again, using my way of using these is I just make it similar to an alcohol marker. And there's two ways. I'll either put my light color down, then go back in with my shades, or I'll put my light color in first and then spread it out as I get lighter and lighter. But when it comes to those, and I guess I should show that, and I will, what I do is at the end, whatever the lightest color was, I kind of cross over that line. And then I'll use the darkest color. So I use that line to almost outline the image with that darkest color, and then I'll butt up with the lightest color just to blend it out. So that's kind of how I get that color, that line to disappear. Or it does disappear anyway, but for me, just to make sure, because what I have found when I've done this previously, you get this gap. You have that complete gap within an image such as this, the rose, and it does. You still, you know, you kind of, because the fade out does just that. It's going to fade out. So you do have that area, and it looks like, and if I left it the way that it was right here, I would exactly have that. When it comes to this. So that's kind of what I do. Once I'm done the image, I will go back, and I do apologize. I did not show that in this video here. I absolutely forgot. I actually go back with the darker and then just blend it out with the white and then just push it through, or the blender pencil that I use. So when it comes to the roses, let's get back to the card. So when it comes to these roses, these were pretty big. These were nice size images. So again, a little bit more thought, so to speak, went into that. However, when we go with our smaller images, yes, I still put thought into them, but my goodness, they're small images. So the whimsical nature of what we get when we use our colored pencils is perfect for this image. So again, I'm just going through and saying, okay, you know what? I'm even changing some of the images. These I'm making berries off of the twig. I'm putting in a lot more green foliage. I even add some berries in between the little tiny ones. Now, again, and I'll say this later too, you know, those little tiny, since my berries were certain colors, probably a beautiful color for those small colors would have been like a purple or a blue. Again, when you look at your colors, you know, open yourself up to multiple. Again, the card is still beautiful. I still love it. It is a piece of art. It's unique. It's something I created. We let it go. I mean, someone is going to still appreciate this. But these are just things that you can learn as you're continuing to create. You know, it's just because we make a mistake, we don't start over. At least I don't. And it's what I want to encourage. Again, if you've seen my videos before, you've heard me say this. Each one of us creates a piece of art. It is unique and it is our own. Even if we try somebody else's work, I think it's flattering when somebody does that. I take it as an honor that somebody would take the time to do that. And again, it's how people learn those masterpieces of art, those paintings, the Van Goghs and everything else. You will develop your own style. You will develop your own twists, so to speak. So you can see I'm going through the greenery. Going in, I've laid down my light color. This is one of the many reasons why I love colored pencils. I can go through this whole piece, put my light colors down, depending upon what I'm doing. Then I can start back over at the beginning, put my medium colors in. Then I can go across again and put my dark. I don't have to worry about anything drying or moving or doing whatever. Don't get me wrong, I love the other mediums, but sometimes I'm very methodical. We all have our quirks. My quirk is, let's work with one color so that I don't have to keep changing my pen because I'll forget. That's pretty much how we look at that. I do it all the time when I work with my alcohol markers. I always forget to go back to the other color. So you can see I'm coming down to the end of this. I'm using that light gray as I do. It's either a light gray or a light blue that I go around the image. I feel it helps it pop off the page. Almost makes it look 3D. It just adds a little something extra. Okay, so we are back to just opening up the phone, camera, whatever you want to call it, and let it rip. So this here, I like a metal sharpener. I know I get asked that a lot of times. I got this during, as I drop it and make a loud noise, I got this during my quilting days. When it came to the quilting pencils that I used. I like it because it's metal. This here is a Mapco, M-A-P-C-O, and again, I get this from Dick Blick as well. Very inexpensive. It's got a nice weight to it, but I do just like these types of sharpeners when I'm in my room. Now, of course, if I'm taking a book and a set of my colored pencils with me, then I like to have one that's kind of, closed up so that the shavings don't go all over the place. All right, so I'm going to set my pencils aside. And you can see, so when it comes to, I've got these nice, bright, beautiful yellow roses. Oh, let me move my marker. There we go. And you saw, as I was coloring, you saw how the white just popped it. Okay, not even the yellows popped these roses up. It was the white. And as I explained again, I kind of go all over the place. When something is this small, like this, and this dainty, I'm just going to fill in these areas. I added some more berries on my own. I kind of do the reverse on those. Dark on the outside, light on the inside, and then the white goes dark on the outside, light on the outside to give those differences. What I always do like to do is use a gray or a very pale blue pencil and go around the entire image. I think it makes it come to life. I think it makes it look 3D. I think it just makes it look like it's moving, okay? It's got some movement on that. So that's why, and again, it's very faint. It's just a little bit that comes in. You can see it right there. Let me get really in there. Hope I'm not destroying your eye, but you could see how light, and you can see how fast I was moving. I mean, I am just letting that pencil touch the paper, and I'm just literally, I'm moving my hand. I'm not even moving my fingers, so that I get no pressure on them. So probably, would there be anything that I changed? Yes, I probably should have made these little flowers in here blue. I think if they were blue down there, they would have been absolutely gorgeous. I think these are just too close to the berries, and I was having way too much fun with those berries and I kept on adding more. So that's really the only thing that I would change. It doesn't mean I don't love it. Doesn't mean that it's still, I'm not starting over. I never do that. I always keep going the way that we should go. I think what I'm going to do now is I want to do my sentiment. I definitely want to do Live Life in Full Bloom. And you know what? I think I am going to put this just right here in the center. No, maybe I'll actually put it here. Yes. And I'm going to use a brown ink for that. Now, I'm choosing a brown. I either always choose brown or I will choose a gray. Also, when I do my colored pencils, and again, that's because I like the softness that the colored pencils give. I do not, you know, even if you use bright colors, you're not using, you know, neons, so to speak. You know, you're not coming out with that huge, intense neon color. Just grabbing my gray here, my Moonlit Fog. So, even though I used a dark brown, I can get away with my sentiment being dark brown. But again, I do just enjoy, when it comes to my sentiments, just the gray. I will stamp it 2 or 3 times because I know it will dry back. Again, it is a gray. And it may look dark now, but she will calm herself down, basically. What I want to do now, or what I'm going to do, is I do want to matte this. Now, I want to put a piece of Fun Foam behind this. And that's actually perfect. I'll use that one. And as always, I'm going to use, as I bend down, I'm going to use my awesome double-sided tape. Now remember, this tape is not forgiving. It is very strong. I actually get this from Uline. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. This is a 2-inch film tape, a 2-inch double-sided film tape. Now, when I mean that it is not forgiving, it's not. The moment it touches paper, it's there. It's not going to go anywhere. You are not going to be able to pull it apart. So if you did not want it there, it's there now, unfortunately. But it is a wonderful tape. I use this if I want to make my glitter panels. And I use this to attach my foams. I also use this if I've watercolored some panels. Excuse me. If I've done watercolored panels, or if I've done any ink smushing where there's a lot of water going on here, and the cardstock has really warped, I will use it for that as well, because it will automatically flatten out my panel so that it will not be warped anymore. I get up on my tippy toes to place this down, and now she is set. She will not come apart. I can guarantee you. You do, it will just tear the paper. So it's a wonderful tape. Again, I get it from Uline. But there is no forgiveness in its world in any way, shape, or form. Where's my glue? Alright, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue this right up onto and place it onto my standard A2 size card base. Going to make sure I don't put it on upside down, because I've done that before. And I'm going to set this in place. And I'm going to add one more thing. You all know what I'm adding. I love, love, love my iridescent sequins. I must add some. I will use my wax pencil. So after I use my wax pencil, everybody wonders what I'm doing. I'm actually, if the glue comes through the whole of the sequin, because these aren't confetti, I'm wiping off the glue from the tip of my wax pencil. Everybody's always asking, what are you doing there? That's what I'm doing. I'm just wiping off the glue. Yep, and one was a piece of confetti. And that is our card. So I do hope I gave you some tips and tricks when it comes to using colored pencils. And again, that is how I use them. It's very similar to the process of using our alcohol markers. You can see when it comes to my leaves, I do the reverse than what I do for the flowers. Flowers, I start with the darkest or the medium. Leaves, I start with the lightest and work back and then come back forward again. So there's always some different ways that I do things when it comes to coloring these images. But again, I do hope I showed you something, and if I didn't show you a tip or trick, I do hope that you just enjoyed it. And hopefully you're looking at what you already have in your stash to pull out just to color. I'm finding right now I am coloring a lot more during our challenging time, just so that my mind can break free from it. And I can basically, function. My anxiety won't take over. So again, this is the Altenew Paint a Flower series that I'm going to do. It is a subscription that is available through Altenew. It is at a very nice price point because it is a 4x6 stamp set. And I am absolutely enjoying the fact that whatever medium you like, this is the image for that. So I can't wait to work on next one. So for the next one, I believe it is an iris, and I've never colored an iris, so that will be interesting for me. So all the products that I used, as always, will be listed down below in the video description. And if you have any questions or comments, please make sure you leave those down below as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe, be part of my group. Make sure you ring the bell so that you know that when the next video is live and ready for you to watch, and also hit that thumbs up. I do hope everyone is enjoying their day during this challenging time. And I do hope and pray that everyone is healthy and safe during this time as well. But one of the things that is also very important for me that will also help us get through this time, always be creative and take care of yourselves.